everybody, how y'all doing tonight? I want to thank all y'all for joining in with us tonight on our 30th show. Don't sound like a big number, but to us it is. So I just want to thank everybody for joining in tonight. We got a great show lined up. But first off, I'm Josh Carter.
And I'm James Bush.
Guys, we got so much to pack in this show that I'm hoping that we have enough time to do everything, but yet don't feel like we're rushing everybody. So, guys, we got a great show lined up. James, are you excited about it tonight?
Oh, man, I'm stoked. It's crazy that it's been 30 shows already, isn't it?
I know. I mean, it just feels like it was this year that we started it. You know, I look back, and I was kind of looking back at some of our stuff today and listening to a couple of our old shows and kind of seeing how we've progressed, and it's pretty crazy. But first off, I want to thank all our sponsors. Because, like I say it every show. Without them, we wouldn't have a show, and it's true. So, guys, first of all, Bob's at the Creek Outfitters. He's done so much for us, with helping us get into kayak fishing and getting us into a whole new area of bass fishing. And me and James have had a blast with it in our vibes, and just can't wait till next year and see where that's going to take us some more kayak adventures. So. Costa sunglasses, guys, you need to really look into a pair. I mean, I've always been by the cheap pair of fishing glasses because I tear sunglasses up. But James, I mean, these Costa sunglasses that we got with the Sunrise Silver lens is awesome.
Yeah, I'll never own another pair of sunglasses again other than Costas.
Yeah,
they're
awesome.
So much clearer. I can see. Like you say, everybody says stuff, but until you actually put a pair on,
yeah,
especially when you're fishing, it is amazing what you can see that you couldn't see before.
I know it is.
So I would
crazy.
highly recommend it.
Yeah, I love mine.
Because I have kids, and yeah, I've had other expensive sunglasses before, and I've done away with them once I had kids, and they took and broke them right in the middle at the nose piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was heartbroken the first time, and I was like, I'm not spending any more money, but it's definitely worth the money, especially for fishing sunglasses.
Yeah. Also want to thank Falcon Rods. They're new with us as well as Costa this year. And I've always used Falcon, so it was just fitting to be able to get Falcon to come on and sponsor our show, and it was like a dream come true because, like I say, it's easy to promote something when you use it all the time. So, Missile Baits, they've been with us since the beginning. So I really want to thank Shannon and John Cruz. Guys, y'all mean the world to us, and y'all have done a lot for us, and we really appreciate it. Yak Lights. I need to get my pictures up of my Yak Lights. He's been on me about doing a promotional picture. I have been so busy that I just have not been able to get out and do it, just with work, and we're working on moving to a new home, so it's been crazy. But the lights are awesome. I mean, it's awesome what they look like, and you take it out at night and how bright everything is. I got the UV light. You can go on Yak Lights. It's called the OneObjective kit, and it's the kit that's on our kayaks. It's the 4 black lights, the 4 UV lights, and 2 white lights on the inside. So check that kit out. Also, J&J Custom Tackle, and then who knows what's to come here. We got some stuff in the works, so hopefully we'll have some great news for that soon. But anyways, guys, we got a great show lined up. First off, we're going to get Ott DeFoe on. We're going to talk transitional fish. Now, we're going to try to go in depth with him. Ott DeFoe's got a lot going on. He had a big event he went to last night, so we're going to try to cut it short with him because he's super tired. He just flew in home tonight and just coming off the Elite Tour, and it's just been a crazy week. But so we'll cut it. Try not to go too long with Ott DeFoe. But then we got Melinda Hays. She just won the LBAA tournament. She ain't really been fishing no big events for a while, and for her to come back in and fish this derby and win it, which is just awesome to watch it. So see it. And then we got Chris Eads. He's I hope I didn't butcher that last name up. He'll probably tell me if I did, but he won the Claytor Lake tournament. So him and his brother So we're going to talk to them as well. But all this kind of falls in transitional fishing. So just kind of listen to what each one has to say, because when they won, all this is relevant. So, well, some of the Ott DeFoe stuff, maybe not. But he's going to go. I'm going to try to get him to talk about what he likes to do when he's trying to find transitional fish. But Melinda Hays, Chris Eads, listen to what they had to say and how they caught their fish, because that's what we're looking at right now. If you're somewhere on mid-United States or so, on the East Coast or Central America, because that's what the fish are doing right now. I mean, we're getting cool nights. We're getting we still got the hot days here in Virginia, but we're getting the cooler nights, and the fish are moving. You talk to people now, James. I don't know if you've been paying attention. People keep talking about how tough the bite is. So we're gonna kind of cover that tonight on tonight's show. So, but first off, James, have you been watching? And I'll cut you short if Ott DeFoe calls in. But did you watch the Eilte Wildcard today live?
Of course I did. We were talking to each other on the phone.
Yes, I know. I was just trying to bring it in like yeah, man, it was awesome. But I didn't get that far.
Like we haven't talked today?
Yeah, I know.
Come on now, man.
This
is the 30th show. Everybody knows we talk to each other like all day.
No, what'd you think, man? I love that format. I love that format of fishing.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool because it's almost like an ultimate match fishing type deal.
Yeah.
And but you're only competing against a couple anglers.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awesome. It's hard not to watch it. If you start watching it, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
I hope nobody at my work is listening to this show.
I know, right? Yeah, I was kind of driving down the road just listening to it, and I was like, just listening to like what Ike and Ellie and Ishman Rowe was doing. There's kind of tit for tat there for a while with catching fish, and then there for a while, Mike Iconelli was only a couple of ounces ahead of Ishman Rowe, and then Ishman Rowe caught a freaking beast of a smallmouth, and that just solidified it for him for today, and he moves on to the next round. He'll be going against Jacob Poroznik, and it was awesome just to watch that battle. Jacob Poroznik got into a flurry of a man on a bunch of docks, and it was just like, it seemed like when he was watching, it was almost like every other cast. And he'd catch like 2 or 3 on each dock.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it very much. I didn't watch it all day. But I did watch, was it the last 5 minutes of it pretty much, and I watched some of it through it, on and off what I could. Yeah. And apparently you watched a lot more of it than I did.
I listened, so James.
You've done a lot less work. You've done a lot less work than I did today.
I listened. You're going to get me in trouble. Trying to get me in trouble.
That's what I do.
Roger, don't listen to him.
I'm not trying. And
if you're listening, Roger, don't pay no mind to him. I listened to it. I can't watch it while I'm driving down the road, James.
Well, okay.
Safety first. But anyways, before you get me in trouble, it was
I'm not
great.
Even talking. You're going to get yourself in trouble at this point.
But yeah, it was a good show. It's one of the things I wished it was more on the weekend. I think tomorrow is the last day, but it was cool to watch and listen to it and hear how it all went down. But I would love to get into a tournament series like that one time. Just maybe not against them guys, but like have a bunch of guys come together and do it. Do a tournament like that. That would be fun.
Oh yeah. I think it'd be nice to know what everybody else has got. I mean, it's kind of like me and you fishing against each other anyway.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, I caught one.
Yeah.
It's big.
Well, I always liked it when you called during a tournament.
Mess you all up.
Yeah. I always liked it, though, when you called during a tournament because it always seemed like I hooked into one when you called me. If I called you, I never got into one. But if you called me through the tournament, it seems like I was hanging into one. And it wasn't always big, but yeah, it's I'd like to get into another event, do an event like that. But Bass Cat Little Dave asks, who's y'all's pick for tomorrow? James, who's your pick tomorrow for the wild card event? I'm going to go with Ish just for the fact that he's been catching more weight every day. Like his weight looks like it's been going up.
Well, see, we're Virginia boys, so I'm going with the Virginia man.
Well, that's who I should go for.
I'm going with Farazman.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only like an hour and a half away from me.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I mean, I'd be kind of crazy to go. I mean,
yeah, but you got to, if it come down to gambling and you put money on the line and Ish has been catching the fish that he's been catching, are you still gonna gamble against him? I mean, you got good odds. I mean, you could win, but
I mean, it's a 50-50 shot.
Well, we got Ott DeFoe coming on, and we're gonna ask him what he thinks.
Oh, okay, so we'll just shut me up right now then.
Exactly.
I guess.
Shut your mouth. We got guests coming on, James.
Yep, my bet is Farazman.
Hey, Ott, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Oh, not too bad, man.
Pretty good.
How you been doing?
Oh, it's been busy, but good. Yeah, it's just got back home today from Springfield. Went out there and did opened the Wonders of Wildlife Museum yesterday. It was pretty awesome event, but glad to be home.
Yeah, I seen your pictures up from the event and all. Everybody that was out there, and so you got to meet Luke Bryan. And looks like it was an awesome time though.
Yeah, it was. It sure was. I mean, Johnny don't ever do anything second rate, and this one here was really, really special, no doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Well, tell us a little bit how I know that things didn't finish the way you probably wanted it to for the AOY, and but you led a good portion of the year. And
yeah.
But just kind of tell us a little bit of how your year went, and was there anything that you would have possibly changed towards the end, or would you have done it all over the same way? I mean,
yeah, it was. I was very blessed to start off good. It was neat to get to start at home. We had Cherokee first on the schedule, and I had a good event there to start the year. Finished 10th, and then went down to Okeechobee, which is a place I've had some okay tournaments, and I've had some really bad ones, and actually nearly got the win there, and ended up second to Timmy Horton. So starting the year off strong like that, man, it really, it was just good momentum. I had ended the last season on a high note, regular season with that win, and then starting this year off bang bang with 2 more top 12s. It was really I couldn't ask for a better start by any means. So I was really blessed with that. But then kind of get into the stride of the year. I had a good tournament at the Classic, but then I got into the stride of the year, and things were good, but they were not great. Throughout most of the spring and then early summer, was cashing checks, but not those top 12 finishes, and that's really what it takes if you want to be up there contending for Angler of the Year. You almost have to have, with having 9 regular terms, you almost have to have minimum of 5 top 12s. I mean, that's just what it takes. There's going to be guys who do that, so that's what it's going to take. And I was not able to keep pace with that. Basically, I had the one real bad tournament at the St. Lawrence, and that was one that if there was one I would do anything different, it would be that one, and it would be the way I practiced. I spent too much time dedicated. Spent too much time broke up. I didn't spend too much time dedicated to largemouth, and I didn't spend enough time dedicated to smallmouth. I should have picked one before I ever got there, and stuck with it. And I could have probably could have come out there with a much more solid finish. But even if you give me a 30th place tournament there, a good solid finish, I still don't even come close to winning Angler of the Year. So I had just a less than mediocre first day, then went out and had a really, really bad second day. And I went out the second day with the intention of trying to catch 20 plus pounds to really get myself back in it, and it just didn't happen. So really, there truly isn't a whole lot I would change other than the way I practiced for the St. Lawrence tournament. Everything other than that, felt like all in all made pretty good decisions.
Yeah. Now I know that going into the Classic, I tell everybody about this because this was like the highlight of me and James this year when we went down to the Classic, and I was able to ride with you in the boat, and James with Bobby Lane, and it was crazy because how your boat, you had some boat issues at the end, and here comes Bobby Lane and James coming by. I'm like, this is crazy. But to watch you catch that big fish, did you catch any more bigger than that this year? Or?
That was my biggest. Yeah,
all right.
That was my biggest. I caught some big ones at Okeechobee. I had a couple 8-pounders at Okeechobee the first day, but no, that 9.9 was certainly the biggest one I caught the whole year. So yeah, you were there front and center to get to see that happen. It was, as you know, man, in that video, the GoPro footage and what you'd shot on your phone, that was hands down probably the coolest fish catch I've ever had. I mean, it just don't catch a 9.9 on top water. It's probably going to be pretty cool.
Yeah,
and that one was.
Yeah, I was kind of freaking because I was like, how big do you think it is? I'm thinking, I ain't never seen anybody catching on that big in front of me. I'm like, that dude's 12. That dude's every bit of 12 pounds.
Right. Yeah. No, it was no doubt a big one. When I called it, I thought 9 or 10, but I wasn't real sure if it would break 10 or not. But that was kind of what I thought was 9 or 10. And I ain't caught. That's the second biggest fish I've ever caught in my life. I caught a 10.9. Actually out of Lake Kissimmee, but we were fishing an open out of Toho. I caught it in a tournament and caught a 9.4 the next day. So those were my biggest three: a 10.9, a 9.9, and a 9.4 are the three biggest ones I've ever caught.
Wow. Yeah, it was definitely amazing to watch, especially on top water. I couldn't believe it. And then you hook set it with one hand. It was insane. But
yeah.
But to kind of, but did that give you some momentum too, kind of going in through your year? I mean, having a good Classic, because you probably didn't expect to finish as good as you did going into the last weigh-in.
I didn't. No, I really didn't. I think I was 11th or 12th, maybe 13th even going out that day, and I'd just come off of two. That's what was funny is we had two elites before the Classic, and I just had two top 12s, and we go to the Classic, and I end up having a a good final day, and ended up 5th. And I'm rolling pretty strong at this point. 3 top 10 finishes to start the year, and it did. It just helps you realize that you're making good decisions, and the stuff you're trying and your gut's telling you is clicking pretty good. And some years, man, it's like every move you make is the right one, and other years you can't get out of the mud. So and when you're making good calls, you just gotta know to roll with it and not second guess anything. Just if your gut says do it.
Yeah. Now, kind of going into Douglas, and I went through Bassmasters, was looking at the pictures and the boat you were using, and
yeah.
Now that ain't actually a jet boat. That's actually a propped motor.
Correct.
Y'all don't run much jet motors there, or why did you not? Or is it just how the hole's set up?
No, most of them, local guys wise, I mean, there are a lot of jets here, but BASS rules it must be propeller driven.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if we could use a jet, it'd be so much easier. I mean, it would relieve a lot of problems, but yeah, so because of BASS rules, and FLW is the same way, it must be propeller driven. So therefore, that's when we got to do this custom tunnel and all this other work, two hydraulic jack plates and everything to try to get, the end result of being as close to a jet with a tunnel is what we can possibly get. So that's why we go through the trouble of that, and it's amazing. I mean, a really well set up jet, you're going to run in 3 to 4 inches of water. With this boat I've got set up the way it is, I can run in 6.
Wow.
You know, and I'm saying that's what you run in before you hit. So I can run in 6, I hit in 5. With the jets, you can run in 4 and you hit in 3. So it just depends. Like you can cross stuff in a well set up jet that's 2 to 3 inches without a whole lot of damage, where I can cross stuff in my boat that's 4 to 5 without a whole lot of damage. You know, so you're kind of weighing it out, and the way that mine is set up, my engine is above the bottom of my boat, so it's the boat that hits. You know, so that's really the way you want that set up to work. But it's it's fun. It's fun tinkering with these boats and trying to get them set up the way you want, and then to do the job you want them to do.
Yeah, I know my buddy Alan just bought a jet boat, and
okay.
I've always run bass boats, and when I got to running up the river with him, he looked at me and said, "Look, I'm gonna tell you, you can see the bottom when we're running." And I'm like, "Well, you're not supposed to see the bottom, Alan."
Gonna get way up there.
Yeah, I'm like, "You're not supposed to see the bottom." And there was spots I was like, "Man, I can't even look. Let's just roll. Just you know what you're doing. Just go with it." But yeah, it's but you're able to get in those spots into where a lot of people ain't fishing, and is that what was able to get you the win at Douglas Open? You was able to get up to them spots. And how many people had boats like you that were running the river like that?
The boats that were capable technically of getting everywhere I fished. In the tournament, there were 5 of us. That was myself, then the guy who actually does my work, Mike Watson. He fished in the event, and then Skylar Hamilton, Drew Benton, and then a buddy of mine from around here, Brian Ayler. Brian's boat is a little different. His and Drew both actually, but we'd had some rain, and the flow in the river was up a little bit, and it wasn't near as treacherous as what it usually is that time of year. So those guys were able. Myself and Mike and Skylar, actually, our rigs, we could go with a lot less flow. We could still make it without any trouble. But Bryant and Drew were able to get around without any trouble because of the added flow that was in the river. But yeah, so there were 5 of us, and then there was actually a 6th boat that was basically just a flat bottom John. I don't think he even had a hydraulic jack plate, but he fished kind of the very bottom section of aluminum boat water. He could get further than a bass boat, but he couldn't get as far as the rest of us. And he, I can't think of his name, but it was a guy. I think he qualified for the elites at that event. Oh, wow. But then of us that fished out of him, Skylar actually he had a bad first day. Only caught a couple fish. Took his big boat the second day and had a better day. He ended up getting a check, and Mike was actually in second the first day, and then blanked the second day. Just had a tough day, but still ended up in check range. And then Brian Ayler, my buddy, and then the other guy who qualified for the elites were both in the 15-ish range, and then Drew and I made the top 12. Wow,
that's awesome. Now, what was some of your key baits for when you got up there? What was you using to catch them?
My number one bait, I've weighed the majority of my fish. Maybe 10 of my 15 came flipping a Terminator half-ounce black and blue Pros jig, and had a Bass Pro Elite chunk on the back of it, and that was green pumpkin blue flake. And that was my bread and butter. I mean, that's what I weighed the most fish on. Did weigh some key fish on a black and blue bladed jig, and weighed a couple key ones on the final day, actually on a Bass Pro Bull Hog. It's similar, a beaver creature style bait, just Texas rigged. But those were my three that did the most heavy lifting. I may have weighed one fish, I think, on a swim bait, but those were those other 3 were the main ones.
Yeah. James, you got any questions before I go into our next part of the interview?
Throughout the year, what do you think some of your key baits were that got you to the point where you did finish up the year?
That's a good one there. Every tournament was certainly very different, especially you look at the first half at least of the Elite Series season, every single tournament was different. So at Cherokee, we started deep with smallmouth, and I caught them fishing that Demiki style stuff on a VMC moon-eye jig head, and then I go to Okeechobee, and I caught them on a Terminator frog, and caught some big ones flipping, and then Toledo Bend, I caught them. That was the first. I caught some at Okeechobee swimming a Terminator Pros jig, but then at the next one down there at Toledo, and then it really carried through. Man, we kind of rode the shad spawn from Okeechobee, even from Okeechobee to the Classic to Toledo to. We didn't go to Rayburn next. I don't know if we went to Dardanelle right after that, but we rode the shad spawn from February at Okeechobee to May or June even, and throughout that shad spawn time, swimming a half-ounce white Terminator Pros jig with a Bass Pro Swimming Elite chunk on the back of pearl white was a key bait for me this first half of the year. That was one that I probably weighed more fish on, and then throughout the rest of the year when I was largemouth fishing up north, I was catching them flipping a Pros jig, either a half or 3/4 ounce. I love, man. When I'm shallow fishing, flipping, I love a jig. I just always have. It's simple, and people just don't. I don't think people fish them as much as they used to. Everybody wants to flip plastic or something else. Man, a good old simple jig and chunk is hard to beat.
Yeah. So you throw a white jig pretty much, right much?
A good bit, especially around the shad spawn is what I was primarily targeting all those times with that white jig.
Oh, that's one thing I have never got into is throwing a white jig. I like throwing all different kinds of other ones. I put that white one in my hand. I just don't have the confidence in it.
Yeah. It's funny, man. Back a long time ago, that was something we did in East Tennessee, and then I kind of got away from it for a while, and then I have really, really embraced it again. It definitely has a time and place.
Now, I want to
Thank you.
Cover into like some of the topic of the show was transitional bass, and this is the last thing I'll ask you before we let you get going here. But when it comes to September, late September, early October, what do you do to locate bass? I mean, where do you let's say starting wise, are you gonna start on the main channel and work your way into creeks, or are you gonna check your backs to creeks first and work your way out, or?
For me, I look at this time of year there being two groups of fish that I'm going to target, either both or one or the other. If it's a river system lake, like the Tennessee River or the Coosa River, and those systems have, they are generating power, they are pulling some water, making some current on the main channel. Some point in time throughout the day, it typically doesn't happen all day this time of year, but if there is some current being generated on the main channel, I'm going to take advantage of that for one. So I'm going to fish, out there on those kind of places, and the places where the current's going to hit the most, going to affect the most, is what I'm going to look for. So if you've got that working for you, that's something I'm going to look for. If it's a highland reservoir, you really don't have that. So that one kind of goes away then. The other thing I'm going to do on either kind of system is I'm going to go to the very, very back ends of the bigger creeks and the very upper ends of the rivers. If it's got a headwater river flowing in, which is a situation we have at Douglas, or if it goes up underneath the dam like a Pickwick, Wilson, those type of places. Those are the areas I'm going to look for. So regardless, I'm looking for current. So that's the common denominator for me in the early part of the fall in that transition time, because the fish in the main body of the lake, where there's not much current, those fish do a lot of suspending, and they're following bait, and they pop up here and pop up over there, and there's not a lot of good ways to stay with them more times than not. So I'm always looking for current, which is it's gonna allow those fish to position. It's gonna help them position, because then they're gonna be able to set up to ambush bait fish that are coming to them throughout the day. So that's my main deal, is I'm looking for places, whether it's an inflowing creek, an inflowing river, that's going to provide even a small amount of current, or out on the main channel when they're actually generating power and pulling some current through the system.
Now, when it comes to like your baits, what are you going to be some baits you're going to start using to find them, and then, I guess slow down and start fishing the area more once you find them?
One of my best baits for finding them during that time is going to be a topwater, especially early morning. But if it's clear water, that may sound backwards, but if it's clear water and a bright sunny day, but you have anything creating some shade on the water, those fish are going to position in that shade. And if the water's clear, you can catch them all day on topwater in those shade areas. So topwater is going to be one, a swim bait, and from small to big, but a swim bait either rigged on a jig head, typically rigged on a jig head, but from a real lightweight to keep it up high in the water column to, maybe a 3/8 ounce to get it down, 5 or 6, 7 feet. That's going to be another one that I'm going to use to search with. But then if it's a real tough bite, I will drop down to a shaky head or a drop shot just to get bites. But if there is some decent cover around, I'm probably going to stick with that pros jig or the bullhog, flipping around those some heavier cover, some logs and lay downs, that type of stuff.
Awesome. James, you got anything else for him before I ask the big question about today's event through Bassmasters? Nothing, huh?
No, I was looking at an article on Bassmaster about the Storm or Rossi spin bait that you use sometimes.
Yeah. I have, yeah.
How well does that thing work in the fall? I know it's a big article that you have on Bassmaster about it.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I have not got to use it a whole lot in the fall yet. I've had them, and I've used them. I used them quite a bit this summer up north, and I've used them some in the spring pre-spawn. And I did fish with it a little bit last fall, actually on Cherokee, a couple of days, and I caught some fish on it. It's kind of one of those experimenting times with something that I've not used a lot, and caught some fish that I know I wouldn't have caught on anything else, but I didn't catch any big ones then. I have caught big ones since. So when I was using it last fall, I was kind of like, this seems like a little fish bait, but I've since learned that it isn't. It's not at all. So a little bit I've experimented with it in the fall. I'd say I still need to learn more with it, but I think that it definitely has potential on catching suspended fish. From what I've seen with it, it is what the 2.8, 3-inch swim bait was 5 years ago, where that thing was so deadly on suspended fish. That's where the spin bait kind of is now. It's something that's different. They've not seen time and time and time again, and it can really. I've seen it work magic. It's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
So, and when do you think your popper is going to be out? That Arashi popper that you were using at the Classic.
It's out.
Is it
was released at
available
ICAST this year. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's available.
Available.
Pretty much everybody's sold out.
I was able to get one.
My hands on it.
I sweet talked him at the ICAST about it.
Yep.
I was like, "Come on, dude! I watched Ott catch a fish on it. I got to get one."
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. After ICAST, it went like hotcakes. Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty good launch for them. Last I had checked on Rappler's site online, they only had a couple of the less popular colors. Still good colors, but a couple of the less popular colors was all they had in stock then. That was just a couple of weeks ago. Need to check back and see if they've got any more in.
Gotcha.
I hear you.
Well,
yeah, you normally want to buy the ones that everybody sold out of.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
That's how you do your shopping.
Yep, no doubt.
All right, I got one more question for you, and then we'll let you get going, man. I know you get tired. Now, did you watch the wild card event today on Bassmasters?
I watched. I got to see about the last hour and a half.
Well, who is your pick for tomorrow between Ish Monroe and Jacob Rozenek?
I'm going to say I've not looked to see. I've not paid quite enough attention to know what their weather is supposed to be tomorrow. But watching what Ish did with those smallmouth in the last hour and a half, and when he caught, I know he caught a 5 and he caught some other 2.5s, 3s. Smallmouth are the way to win on that lake. Not that you can't catch a big largemouth, a 4 or 5 pounder, but if you can get on the right deal of smallmouth, you catch 17, 18 pounds, the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Aaron Martin showed that in that major league that was up there last year. So I think if those smallmouth will if Ish can get a little bit going with them in the morning, you know, I really think he'll. I don't think it'll be a competition. Honestly, I expect him to win. Now, if it's an off day or maybe they don't have any wind or something, those smallmouth may hunker down and get hard to get to bite, and Jacob's dock deal may be enough to carry through. But Ish has done well up shallow with largemouth. I think today was the first day he really targeted smallmouth. He had done fine with the largemouth before that. So, it's really a toss-up to me. Unless he gets the smallmouth going, then I think it's over with.
Yeah. It was exciting to watch between him and Ike and Nelly through the day, and just to watch him through the week so far, it seems like he's always had a pretty decent bag. So that's what my hat's at. I think it's going to be Ish. But like I say, things can change and weather changes, and smallmouth shut down quick. So
yeah, that's they can shut down quick, or you can miss the window. It's they're kind of it was. For the last 30 or 40 minutes, he didn't catch hardly anything. But he went through a span there. It was like bam, 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 bam. He caught about 4 or 5 just in 15 minutes. So you have one of those windows, and your whole day is good. So it's all about having that flurry with those smallmouth.
Well, that's awesome. Well, buddy, I appreciate you coming on, man. And good luck to you next year. And hopefully we'll hear from you soon. But like I said, if we don't, good luck next year. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on tonight.
You bet.
Yeah,
thank y'all for having
me. So much.
Yep.
You have a good night, bud.
All right. See you.
See you, man. Thanks.
All right. Well, that was a really great interview. Really happy with how that one went. It's a lot of good information, especially, I was trying to touch base with Transitional fish, but also on his win on Douglas, because we tried to get him on earlier, but he had to go straight from there up north to practice for an event. So I try to touch base on everything. It's a lot to talk about that's happened this year. So, but James, what did you take from that? I mean, that was a really good interview.
Oh, I mean, I think it's awesome. I think that's probably one of our better interviews that we've had.
Well, I knew you like it because you like jig fishing.
We say that every time. Well, absolutely. And, I need to get me some more jigs and white jigs. And I just need to put them in my hand and make myself throw them. I need to do the same thing I did when I started jig fishing.
Yeah.
Carry just my jig box.
Yep.
I just need to carry a white jig. So I just need to make myself do it.
That's right. Well, I don't want to hold Melinda up. We got her actually calling in right now. So let's go ahead and get her.
Right on.
Hey, Melinda, how you doing?
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Oh,
I'm doing amazing.
Good.
Awesome. Well, so are you down with Dylan, or did you stay back at home with the kiddos?
Actually, I'm at Lake Texoma at the Costa. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't know if you went down there or not, but yeah, that's. I was actually talking to Dylan just a little while ago about how his day went.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I said, buddy, I'm going to pray on you. He said, I didn't have too good of a day. So I'm praying for you, man. I hope he catches a big old bag tomorrow.
No doubt.
But, all right, well, Melinda, tell us a little bit about the LBAA, if I said that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. But tell us a little bit about it.
Well, you know, I haven't fished out of the front of the boat in around 7 years, so the LBA, just going and fishing that tournament was just going to be a good experience for me to get back in the front of the boat, build confidence again as I get back out there. So that was the goal of that week.
Yeah. Now that's the ladies bass fishing, the women's bass fishing series.
It is. And so they started around 7 years ago. And it's, you know, it's just a place where women can feel comfortable, because not everybody feels comfortable fishing against a guy, you know.
Yeah.
I grew up fishing against, you know, men, and it's something that I've never felt, you know, insecure about. And so I'm thankful that I have that in my life, you know, but some people need the avenue, and so I think it's great that they do have that.
Yeah.
To go to.
We actually had it was a girl that used to be in our club years ago that I think fished it years ago, which was Mary Croft. I don't know if you ever heard of her or not, but
yeah, I do know her. Actually, she moved to Hot Springs.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yep.
That's crazy. Small
That's crazy.
world.
It's a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, she actually moved into my old house that I grew up in when she lived up here.
No way.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
I remember when she was in our club, I could watch her skip a jig, and I was like, holy moly! Like, it was nothing for her to outfish us back then. I mean, she was really good. So, but
well,
no, that's cool.
I think that's the beauty of fishing, though, is that you don't have to be a guy, girl, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter who you are, what size you are. It just matters that you enjoy it and love it and get out there and do it.
That's
so
right.
I think that's what makes the difference, and that's what fishing's all about, is just getting out there and enjoying it and experiencing it, and not letting those things like, hey, I'm a girl, I can't do this. You know, that's the beauty of it. You can. And you don't ever have to settle or ever think that you aren't good enough just because of your gender or you're not big enough or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool that they got the series, like, because I remember years ago they had it, and you know they would take a qualifier to the classic. I remember Pam Martins made it. I think it was Pam, and I wish they would get back into that, but so what kind of, they have a classic coming up for this as well, don't they? Or like a big championship?
They do. So, and I actually qualified for it because that was the Wildcard tournament. And so I actually made their championship. So it's at Lake Palestine in Texas. So you can probably hear me getting ready because I had a bunch of anglers over here. We're all getting ready for tomorrow. And so I was taking this call and everybody talking at the same time. So sorry about that.
That's all right.
But I've never been to Lake Palestine in Texas, so I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a good experience. It's supposed to fish a lot like where I grew up on Lake Millwood, shallow, stumpy. But the top 15 women from the year make it. Well, actually the top 13, and then they take the 2 qualifiers from the wild card. And so thankfully I'm one of those.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit how your practice went, and then, I mean, when you got into practice, did those fish hold up for you, or did you have to make many adjustments to be able to hold on to that lead?
Well, so practice was spotty. Dardanelle gets so much pressure. It's probably the most pressured lake in Arkansas, and they're extremely moody. I tell everybody that Dardanelle is the most humbling lake in the country. I used to think it was Table Rock, but I've settled that it's Dardanelle. I've zeroed there more than any other place that I've ever been to in my whole entire life. It's ridiculous. So, you know, you need to have several things going on. You can't just rely on one pattern to think that it can get you through. You've got to have a backup plan. And so that was my goal. Starting practice was to find a place where I could find schools of fish, not just individual fish. So I spent a couple of days literally looking for schools of fish. And that is what helped me through that tournament, because the places where I thought that I could catch the bigger fish, shallow, because right now we're in that amazing transition period. I say amazing very sarcastically. Of September, where the fish don't know where they're going, where they want to be, and so you just, some are deep, some are shallow, and some are just in the middle, and it's the hardest time of the year to fish is September. I really swear to that. And so finding fish, the individual fish that I found did not hold up. The shallow fish did not hold up. And I found a lot of fish in practice that I never went to. I never had to go there. I had caught some fish running way up the river, and I thought that was really how I was going to win it. I had found a really big school up there. Well, I got there, and a guy was practicing on it. He wasn't really happy with sharing. And, that's fishing for you. He eventually did leave, but he had went over the top of him, so I think it hurt the school. Yeah. And I caught a bunch of short ones. I caught around 15, and I only caught one keeper, but at least I had, the monkey off my back and actually had a keeper in the boat. And so I hit 3 more spots that morning, and they just didn't really pan out. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, the wind was blowing around 25. It had been pretty still in practice, and it wasn't even supposed to blow that day. So the weatherman in Arkansas need to go back to school, I guess. So, because they missed the boat on that one. It was completely slack calm at takeoff, and so I think I would have done things a little bit differently had it been blowing at takeoff, instead of where I got. So I just called an audible and went shallow and tried to throw a spinnerbait for a while. That didn't pan out either, so I was like, oh, my gosh, it's 11:30. I've got one fish. What am I even doing here? And that gets in your head. I haven't fished as a boater in 7 years, and so that really plays on your confidence, because that's what that week was all about, just building that back. Because fishing is all about making decisions and being able to make that under pressure, and because you have to fish with no regrets every single time, and you have to be able to make that decision on instincts. I always think that the most important thing is to fish the day, not yesterday. So I just gave myself a stern talking to and decided that, I wasn't going for points. I was going literally to win it. So I was going to just take the rest of the afternoon and fish how I thought that I could get bit with big ones. And that's what I did. And I actually stumbled on a mega school. And if these would have been 2, 3, 4 pounders, it would have been insane. A lot of them were really small. But I probably caught 50 in between 11:30 and 3 that day, or 11:30 and 2 that day. It was absolutely ridiculous. So I burnt that whole morning stressing about catching fish, and then, my partner, she actually had cancer, and I was completely inspired by her because Jonathan Henry has been Dylan's fishing partner all year, or traveling partner all year, and he just inspires me. And so she was having a tough day, and I gave her one of my rods, and she ended up catching a 5.5 pounder and 2 more over 2. So wow. She was leading, and she was actually blowing out the tournament after the first day. But there were a lot of big ones around. I have one around 4.5. But so I actually started on that the second day, and I literally caught 70 before noon.
Holy cow.
It was, and my partner was catching them I would catch one, unhook it, use the pliers. She would catch one, unhook it, use the pliers. We kind of had this little rhythm going on. But what was so special about that is neither one of those women had ever experienced a lot of fish catches. They had just been around where you struggle and you don't get to catch a lot of fish. So I thought it was so important for them just to get to experience that, because, that's how my parents actually taught us to love bass fishing. Because, if you struggle constantly catching bass, it can become frustrating. And it's really hard to fall in love with something that's just constantly frustrating.
Yeah.
And so it was really special to me to have both of those ladies with me to get to experience such an incredible day on the water. You know, I didn't catch a big bag the second day, but I definitely had more fun than anybody out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I knew how tough Dardanelle was fishing, so I knew that I didn't have to catch a big bag. I just probably had to catch a limit to be able to sustain it.
Yeah. Now, when she caught those big fish on her rod, did you say, okay, that's enough, you caught your fish, can you give me that rod back?
No, actually, so what's really funny is she caught those too, and I'm like, good night. You know, they were, the first two were bigger than anything I had, and I was like, what am I doing, you know? And so she actually messed up that rod, and I was like, here's another one. I tied her on another one and gave it to her. And I always just feel like doing good things for people is never a bad thing, and
That's
I
right.
never regret it, no matter. If that would have cost me the tournament, I still wouldn't have regretted it, because I believe that if you have an opportunity to make a difference in someone's life and you take that opportunity, that it doesn't matter how it turns out. It can never be negative. So
Yeah. And that's
I just
awesome
think it's
on
a
your
viewpoint,
side.
you know. I just think that there's more going on than fishing every single time that you're out on the water. You know, there's so many experiences that we get to have that no one else gets with our time on the water. You know, just experiencing nature, the things that you learn out on the water, like perseverance, never giving up, to just appreciating the time that you get to spend. So I just think there's all these little nuggets. I think being a mom and knowing how precious that time is, a way that it just makes me appreciate things so much more.
That's awesome. And like you say, you know, she was going through some tough times, or she went through some tough times in her life, and to be able to give her that highlight, you know, it's hard to take that away from anybody. So
It is, you know, and I just think it's special, and I hope, you know, it's just a positive thing for her, you know, just to motivate her, because she was literally on her off week of chemo, and this week she's back on chemo. Next week she'll be off again, and so she's like, I usually feel pretty good, but, you know, I get pretty weak, and so we just took the boat ride real easy. There's just, you know, if that doesn't inspire you, that people keep going, you know, and they keep living their life and they keep pursuing their dreams, even though they're dealing with so much more, you know, it makes that one fish at 11:30 not seem as bad.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's like I say, y'all are great people. I've been talking with Dylan and you through the months and all that, and I wouldn't expect anything less out of you. Y'all just really great people when it comes to helping people out. So, but what was some of the key baits that helped you when you found those fish to catch them? If you don't mind telling, I don't know if you want to tell.
No, I don't mind. So I loved to throw a Carolina rig. I really thought that I was going to be able to catch them flipping or on a spinner bait. But I decided to start dragging, you know, because I felt like I could just slow down, pick things apart, and then hopefully be able to fill my limit and hopefully have a kicker as well after I did it. So, excuse me. I've had bronchitis. I had bronchitis that whole tournament. I was deathly ill. I think I was on fever the last morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to earn this, you know, because it was getting up to 90. But
Wow.
I caught him on a Carolina rig the first day. Some come up schooling, so I caught him on. Booyah makes this wood knocker rattle trap. So just a 1/4-inch trap, which is deadly in the fall. You know, it's kind of really hard to beat that whenever they're chasing shad. So I caught them on that. Caught them on a whopper plopper. You know, those dang baits, they're so crazy, but they're cool whenever they hit it. You know, holy moly. I remember we had one of those like 5 years before it got popular. And I'm like, why didn't we throw this morning? And I reeled it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is why, because it looks goofy.
Yeah.
But fish love it. So I bought some on that, too. But those were really the key things that really helped me throughout the week is a trap, a Carolina rig. I threw just a Texas rig. I think I threw 13 different things and got bit on 13 different things the last day. I was just pulling things out of the box just to see if I could get bit on it. Because whenever there's that many fish on it, you just want to know if I threw this, could I get bigger bite? You know, I caught one on a 6.5-inch swim bait, thinking it's going to be a monster. It was like a 13.5-incher. So I tried a little bit of everything just to try to up my bag that last day, but the first day the key things were the Carolina rig for sure.
Yeah, that whopper plopper is we fish the river a lot around here, and the smallmouth hit that thing. They are mad when they hit that thing. It's just, I got a video guarantee to come up with my friend catching a almost 5-pound smallmouth. It was like 4.5-pound smallmouth, and yeah, like I say, when they hit that whopper plopper, it's insane. They do not like that thing coming over their head.
No, they're angry, you know. It's just kind of like you're knocking on their door and they were working graveyard shift or something. I mean, they're angry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they don't like, I mean, it's real bad where you had to change the hooks a lot, especially with the smallmouth, because they bend them up so bad with the current of the river, and then plus just taking a hook. I mean, they tear the hooks all to pieces on them things. So, but well, yeah, that's awesome that you were able to go out and fish the way you like to fish. I love throwing a Carolina rig too. I've talked a lot with James about throwing a Carolina rig. I love the Falcon Lizard Dragger rod. That's like my go-to bait. And but yeah, so when you can go out and you can catch them on something you love.
They have one called a Carolina Cara now, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I just really feel like I know exactly what I'm bumping over, you know, whether it's wood or whether I'm about to come into a brush pile, whether it's trunk rock, pebbles, whatever. I know what I'm coming through, and it is, I never question if that's a bite or not, you know, because I think that's what's able to set you apart is just your sensitivity.
Yeah.
Because whenever they're biting finicky, whenever you're in a high-pressure situation like Dardanelle was, just being able to feel those light bites that other people possibly aren't feeling, you know, and I think that your rods, your line, everything's able to set you apart whenever you're doing that.
That's right. Well, James, you got any questions for Melinda?
I just want to, hopefully she does really good I just want to wish her luck at the Classic at Lake Palestine, and I want to thank you for everything that you've done for us here at OneObjective.
Well, you guys are killing it. You know, y'all are doing incredible things that are really on the cutting edge. You know, and we love to be a part of people who are taking a step out there and really putting the effort into it like you guys are. And, you know, you're both amazing people, and so we're blessed to work with y'all.
Well, thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much.
And we're going to keep on keeping on and trying to – we got some bigger things coming in for next year to make the show even better. So I'm getting ready to move into my new crib here soon, so I'll have a studio. So I'm really excited about that. So I've been talking to James every day about it. I'm like, man, I can't wait to get a studio. I just cannot wait to get – I could care less about the rest of the house. I'm just worried about the studio right now.
That's so funny. That's funny.
It's a studio and a lawnmower is all I hear about
Yeah,
now.
I'm mowing grass in my studio.
Ain't that funny? Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you, go ahead and put Lowe's on your #1 visit list whenever you get this new place.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it is, but once you have a new place, Lowe's becomes your, like, date night, you know?
Yeah, go there and pick out some, pick out some paint.
Yeah.
But, well, Melinda, I appreciate you coming on. I expect to see more great things out of you this year, and I know it'll fall into next year. So
Yeah, I'm sitting sixth at Texoma right now on the Cullingler side, so I'm hoping for more good things tomorrow. This tournament is all about trying to make the Costa Championship as a Cullingler. It's, working for Costa and titling that series has been so special, and so I thought that if I can make that championship working for Costa, it'd be even cooler. So Today was a great start on that, and so I'm hoping to finish the year out good tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll be watching that, keep an ie on that, and following up with Dylan. You need to tell Dylan what he needs to do.
Oh, no. He's got to have a bad day. I mean, he's got to have a bad day at some point because he's been on such a roll that, he's done so many incredible things this year, with it being his rookie year on the tour and then his rookie year really getting to fish a couple of different Costa divisions. And so I think that he's been extremely successful and he should just be proud. I think these tournaments like this week humble you.
Yeah.
And they also make you want it more. And so he doesn't like that today, I know, but I think he'll come back tomorrow bigger and better.
That's right. That's what I keep telling him, man. When he has a bad tournament, I'm like, look, man, just go out there and do your thing, and just you're blessed, man. You'll be out there and you get to fish a tour. So, so a lot of us would love to do it.
Those.
That's right.
No doubt. Yeah.
Brings you back to reality.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys, and thanks for talking to me tonight.
Well, thank you, Melinda, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right. Awesome. Another great conversation. Let me go ahead and get Chris, because we're actually doing pretty good on time.
We are crushing it. We are getting a ton of information, and we are rolling right on time. I mean, this is...
Yeah, because I kind of wanted to have it at the end, a time at the end to kind of discuss some things, how we like to fish for transitional fish. But, if we get it, we don't. But I'm going to go ahead and text him now and let him know, which was about right when I told him. It'd be close to 10 o'clock. So, yeah, the Hays family has been really great to us. Dylan, we've had Dylan on twice. We actually plan on setting another show up. I've been talking to him today about it. After the championship, getting him on and talking about his season as a rookie on FLW Tour. So, excited about doing that show again. They're just really great people. They do anything for anybody, and like I said, we're really blessed to have them on our show. So, and just having Costa part of OneObjective. So, I just want to say before we get Chris on, I really like to thank everybody. James, I know I've been sharing them with you, the comments that we've been getting from our listeners and our viewers on YouTube and all that, and really want to thank y'all for all the encouraging words. I try to comment on all of them the best I can. If sometimes it might take me a little while to get to you. Instagram's real funny about my messages for some reason. It seems like I'll check them, but then sometimes they won't be there. So, but I just want to thank everybody for the encouraging words and everything that y'all have said. It really means a lot to me and James, and it pushes us to do more shows because we know we're helping people. So, people actually enjoy listening to them. I don't know why I listen to us, but no, just kidding. But anyways, we got Chris coming on. He's going to talk about Claytor Lake and how he was able to wrap up and win $50,000 on probably one of Virginia's toughest lakes to fish, especially this time of year. Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing good. How are you, Josh?
Oh, not too bad, buddy. Hey, I want to thank you for calling in tonight. I know it's late. I didn't think it was going to go this late, but hey, here we are, and I want to first off start out telling you congratulations on winning on Claytor Lake, because I don't know if you fished that lake all the time, but that is a hard lake, at least when I went up there.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it was. I actually live probably about 10 minutes from the ramp. So, yeah, I know how tough it can be. It's definitely one of the toughest places to fish that I know of.
Yeah. Now, I see a lot on Facebook. Like, I've seen the comments for this tournament, and it's kind of frustrating when some people were complaining about the event and this and that. But all in all, I think it turned out to be a great event. It was tough, and you know, the cream rose to the top when it come to, you know, the fishermen and all that. And I mean, you look at the weights, like y'all had 884 to win. Now, how many boats was in that event?
I believe there were 173, and, you know, it was definitely probably one of the toughest days that you could have had. We had every bad condition you can think of.
Yeah. Because it looked like it was only like 50. When I was looking through the results, like it looked like only 53 people caught a fish, or 53 teams caught a fish. Now, when I say
that was the ones that weighed, yeah.
Yeah, that's the ones that weighed. So, I mean, that's tough. And, you know, people, you know, might look at that. I mean, y'all have some beautiful looking smallmouth in that picture, especially the one there. But people don't understand, you know, they're like, wow, you know, I mean, that's a decent, all right looking bag. But people don't understand Claytor Lake is a tough lake. To come in with 8 pounds is pretty good, especially, like I say, the way the day was and the conditions y'all had.
It was. And, you know, talking about that 8 pounds, the week before, that whole lake was on fire. And honestly, if it had been the week before, it probably would have took 13 to 15 to win.
Yeah. And that's what I was actually going to get to is like, especially through the winter, like the winter series I have, you see some really big bags brought in on Claytor. The fish are there. It's just you got to learn how to move with the fish and find the big ones.
Yeah, and that's really true.
Yeah. Now, when it come down to practice, how did y'all's practice go? I know you said the week before it was on fire. Did you practice much through the week?
I actually took Wednesday and Thursday off of work, and Wednesday I fished a little bit. The conditions were way different than what we were going to have in the tournament, so I knew I was only going to learn so much. So mainly I just went looking for bait. Figured if I found a few different places, different areas that had bait on them, that I'd be able to hopefully catch some fish around that.
Yeah. Now, when it come into your tournament, did you go hit the same spots you found the bait? Is that where you caught your fish at, or did you have to change up much through that tournament?
Well, I believe I was on about Plan C after about the first 5 places I hit. I didn't catch a fish. I just started practice over and just started going looking for bait. And once we found it, the spot I was on was a flat, and it's got kind of a bowl in the middle of it. And that place was just loaded with fish. And, you know, we just sat there for probably 2 or 3 hours and kept catching them, which worked out. And finally we burned all those fish and left and never caught another one. So.
Wow. Now, I know you might not want to say, because I know you live around that area and you fish it a lot, but you don't have to tell me colors if you don't. But what was some of your key baits for catching the fish that you caught?
Well, anybody who knows me around here knows that I throw a drop shot quite a bit. You know, the biggest thing was just getting it in front of them. Most of the better fish that we caught were catching it on the fall. They weren't actually getting it off the bottom, which was kind of a weird bite. But most of the fish came on a drop shot. Tried to work in a moving bait some. Only caught some small fish with it. But yeah, biggest part of it was a drop shot, and that was just mainly due to the conditions. You know, when you have 10 foot of water clarity and them high bluebird skies, there's really not many other options when it gets tough like that.
Yeah. Now, does top water work good up there at certain times? Because, like, last couple of times we got on it during practice, and then all of a sudden the next day it just changed so quick on that lake, and you couldn't get nothing going. But
I think that's just Claytor in general, is you do something one day and you can't repeat it. And topwater during practice was great. You could throw it pretty much anywhere and get hit. You'd be in 90 foot of water and find one. And I think just the conditions changing, the water dropping, and then coming back in preparation for that hurricane that was supposed to come through but didn't. It just put them fish in weird places.
Yeah. Now, I got a question to ask you too on this one. When we have a winter series tournament here on Secound Lake, and it ain't just mine, there'll be other ones too, but you'll get the guys from Clay Lake that come down, and I'm gonna tell you, them boys can catch some daggone fish on Secound Lake. And I just want to know, what do you think, what makes them so much better when it comes down to like winter series? They come down to Secound Lake. On some of these guys that are home bodies of water that do really well, but they'll come down and just, not every time, but whoop us. Is it just because they're so used to fishing such a high pressure lake, or is it what do you think they got over, like, say, Secound Lake guys?
Well, a couple of them guys are just absolute hammers in general, and I think they could catch fish anywhere. But yeah. I think that a big part of it is just when you're used to fishing really tough conditions and really high pressure water, you have to get good. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So now that y'all have won the big event and all that, how has this is like a question you ask a classic winner for the first time. How has it changed so far since you've won? I mean, you get a lot more attention, and probably people wanting to hear your story probably a little more.
It has been, and it's been kind of surreal. The whole experience has been a lot of fun. My phone from pretty much Saturday evening to now has not stopped ringing, and I've had tons of messages on Facebook, and it's been really cool. And to be honest, I'm still not sure it's real yet, but it feels really good. So I'm just going to keep rolling with it.
Have you cashed that check in the bank yet? Because that's when it gets real, when you see them big numbers in your bank account.
Well, it hasn't cleared yet, but we're getting there. When you got that many zeros on the end of it, they want to make sure it's real. So, yeah, but they pretty much shut the bank down for me for a little while.
That's awesome, man. James, you got any questions for him? I got a couple more I'm going to ask him, but I didn't know if you had anything for him.
No, I've never been to Clay Lake much at all, so I wish I've always wanted to go there. I've just never been.
It's a beautiful lake. I mean, no doubt about it. It is a beautiful lake. And especially you get on, like, I know when I fished it, we went down towards the dam, I fished the right-hand side a lot because it just looked, it's so much more rocky and the way the point's set up and all that. But it looks like everything should hold fish. It's just a really good-looking fishery.
Huh.
But
and it is, and you're in a good area down there.
Yeah, that's where I was talking about the whole topwater deal. But no, it's a great fishery. But I wanted to ask, our whole segment has been transitional fish. Now, a lot of the fish that y'all caught, were they kind of like fish that were in the back of the creeks, or was they already starting the transition where they were on the points moving back, or?
Oh, well, I was pretty much everything I hit was either a point or something just off the main body. You could definitely tell that those fish are in that like September funk. It's just they're everywhere but nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got you. So when I know on this one it was a drop shot, but most of the time when you're in that transition period, what are some of your big baits you go to, or do you still just use a drop shot, or is there any kind of reaction baits you like to kind of start off with when you're trying to find those fish? Or
a lot of times you can work in a jerk bait, especially these fish get really keyed in on bait. You can work that jerk bait in and catch some fish, and when it gets tough, you can fall back on a drop shot or a small jig or something of that nature.
Gotcha. Well, That's awesome, bud. I really appreciate y'all coming on tonight. I know it's getting late. It's about everybody's bedtime. We got work tomorrow. But is there anything else you'd like to add, Chris, to any sponsors or anything like that you'd like to plug?
No sponsors, but I would like to say thank you to yeah, not yet anyways. Yeah, but I would like to say thank you to FOCL, Friends of Claytor Lake. This is the second year they've hosted this tournament, and it's, both times it's got awesome turnout, and it's attracting some good attention to Claytor, which is, I think, really, really big. And, and really appreciate Wayne Burchett and Mike Burchett for running it and putting it on. And they did a really good job with it. And I think that they made a good decision on the fog delay. A lot of people complain about it, but you got to err on the side of caution, and I think they did the right thing.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about with some of the people complaining, was that the fog delay and how they should have extended the time. But if you look at these bigger events, once you lose that time, you lose it. They don't extend the event. They don't, you just kind of got to make what happens happen. And who's even to say if they did extend it, if it had made the fight even better, I just don't see it. So, but like I say, yeah, they did really good. Last year when Tracy Adams won it, did I say that right? Was it Tracy Adams? Yeah.
Yeah, Tracy Adams won it last year.
Adams. And to hear him talking about, catching him on the Ned rig and all that, but just to how the whole event was run. And, I mean, it gets a lot of attention. And it gets a lot, but I don't think it gets as much as it should, but it's an awesome event, and to be able to see the pros coming up there fishing, I mean, that's a lot of money, You're going to get the pros up there fishing for $50,000, so. But no, that was a great event, and I think next year I'm going to try to make it to where we can kind of come up there and cover it a little more and interview you guys and make it, hopefully help make them make it bigger than what it is, so. It's already big, but bigger. But anyways, Chris, I really appreciate you coming on, bud. I know it's late, and I appreciate you staying up with us and coming on and talking about your day. And tell your brother also that we say congratulations. I know he had to work tonight, so.
Yeah, man, I will, and I appreciate you having me on. Just still soaking it in. That's good stuff.
I hear you, man. Well, you blessed, and enjoy the money. Go buy a bunch of tackle and have fun with it.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Congratulations.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Well, there you go. Claytor Lake, guys. That is a tough lake. I know James, was talking a little bit earlier about it and then kind of got off. But I know when me and Alan went up there, it was the hula grub. That was, and I didn't get on. Alan did. Mine was coming off of a drop shot up there, but it seemed like Alan could put that hula grub anywhere and catch them until tournament day. I mean, we were catching beasts on practice, taking pictures. You put them on Facebook, and then you come in the next day to get a blast off, and everybody's talking about you. Oh, man, I know you've been catching them big, and they're watching you, and you come in with 2 fish. You really look like a bunch of idiots. But That's how practice goes. I've learned after that I'm not really going to post no pictures up during practice because I think I jinxed myself. But James, you really need to get up there sometime and fish that lake. It's a beautiful lake. It's just tough. It's a small fishery, and it's a lot of boats on it.
Well, maybe we might need to fish that tournament next year.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. And to kind of put it in perspective is like Lake Robertson, where we fished the kayak tournament, and all them boats was on that little bitty water. That's what it kind of feels like. But everything's got a gas motor on that lake. Yeah. So. But no, it's awesome to see them win that. I mean, it's nothing wrong with seeing pros win, but I like seeing the local guys, the smaller guys, win an event like that compared to a pro. Because they don't have the time like the pros do to go up there and catch, really get on a pattern and catch a bunch of fish, So it's nice seeing the local guys doing it and getting it done. But congratulations to them. But I kind of want to go in one more little segment. We got just a couple minutes left to spare and talk about transitional fish, and what we like to do. And James, I'm going to start off with you on what is your key baits when it comes to finding fish. Like, you blast off in the morning, what's your first spot you're going to run to that you're looking for? Let's say Smith Mountain Lake, just because I don't know nothing down there where you fish at, but let's say Smith Mountain Lake. When you blast off, and I'm not asking for area, but what are you going to do? Are you going to run up your river? Are you going to come up on a point? Or are you going to start in the back of the creek? How do you going to start looking for those fish?
I'll probably start at the mouth of the creek first and try to work my way in until I feel like I'm in the fish, if I haven't been practicing yet. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
If it's my first time running up there, and what am I going to do first thing? I'm probably going to try to just start working my way probably back in the creeks to see, but I'm going to start at the mouth and work my way back in. And I'll probably be throwing either spinnerbait, a topwater, something shad related, smaller. Just trying to really key in on the bait fish,
Yeah.
That's it, and just work my way back into the pocket. If it's later in the season, I would probably start in the back of the creek and work my way the other way.
Yeah.
The opposite way. But right now, I would start at the mouth and work my way in.
Yeah, and like I say, with the temperatures we got right now in the 80s, high 80s, we're getting cool nights, but it's still 60s. It's not as cool as it was, a week or 2 weeks ago. We had some nights that were down in the 50s. I think we had one night it was like 49 or something. But I think right now these warmer days and nights are cool, but not that cool to where the water's really dropping. I mean, I think we're getting down in the 70s, but it's still not in that sweet spot yet to where you can really get up there and start hammering them. But that's kind of what I was going to say is, like Melinda was talking about earlier with going a Carolina rig. I'll probably start off in the morning cranking or throwing a topwater. And when I say cranking, I'm talking 10-foot crankbaits. I'm just starting to kind of get back into deep dive. And I know me and you used to throw them some, but I'm just now starting to kind of get back into deep dive. And I did 2 years ago. I found a spot about mid-creek where the creek channel turned. And I just looked on the graph and seen I seen shad popping out towards the middle of the creek. So I run over there with the boat and look down, and it's just a pile load of fish, and that's where the channel swings. And started fishing with a deep diver and caught quite a few good fish. I was just at the regular fishing that day. But so I always keep that in the back of my mind. But like you, I'm going to start from the mouth and work my way in. But I tell you something I like to do is when I get up on those docks, especially when the lake is low like that, and getting a bait really far in the back of those docks, especially as the sun gets higher and you're looking for that shade, it's hard to beat the very backs of them docks. So, but yeah, that's me. I'm starting out with a popper. I got that new popper from the Russia Pop. So I'll be throwing that one probably this weekend when we got a tournament. So, and the Whopper Plopper's new for me this year. So, I know it's been out for a while, but it's new for me. I've been catching a lot of smallmouth with it, but I'll probably throwing that some too this weekend on this event that we got. But James, I know you like throwing a jig too. So I guess when you're kind of working your way in, you find either a dock pole or some laydowns, you're probably going to switch over and flip that jig a couple times.
Oh, absolutely. I don't go fishing if I don't have a jig rod on the boat.
That's right.
So for sure I'll have that tied on. And I'll probably throw a jerk bait too.
Yeah, I know, you were talking with me earlier talking about throwing a jerk bait. And, me and you, we used to throw it heavily in the spring. So now it's like really hard for me to make myself, I have it with me, but make myself throw it, So I'll probably try it some and see what I can do, especially at some of these places at Leesville with these floating docks. I think it might be pretty good, especially with suspended fish. But
absolutely. I mean,
What was you gonna say?
I just said absolutely.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something else. But now, when it comes to your topwater baits, James, what do you like to throw around this time of year? Are you still with a popper, or do you? I mean, now like where you live at right now, the frog bite should probably starting to turn on pretty good. So I know you'll probably be doing that some.
Yeah, I mean, down here I would definitely throw a frog some. Probably, I mean, it really all depends on where I'm at, you know. So
yeah,
I kind of like my smaller. I'll probably throw some smaller crankbaits. But topwater, oh man.
yeah.
I definitely would throw just a regular popper. And I might even throw a buzzbait some.
Yeah, it's getting that time where the buzz baits are going to start. I like it to be a little bit colder, but I know people still throw buzz baits. You know, I know people throw buzz baits all year round. Well, I say all year round.
Oh, yeah.
Till when, about in the 50s. But yeah, and when I'm talking about crankbaits too, square bills, especially when you get a lot of them laydowns in the mornings, and if it's some shade on them, then square bills are really good. Like, it's hard to beat. I throw Strike King square bills a lot. For one, if you hit a dock or a rock and you bust it, you only spent $3 or $4. But the square bills are really good crankbait, good search bait. You can kind of bring it through pretty much anything. So that's a big go-to bait for me. You'll always see one of those on my front deck of my boat this time of the year. But it's, when it comes to that Carolina rig and some kind of creature bait on the end, something not too long, but it's got a fatty looking profile, bulky profile, like a brush hog. I don't really throw a lizard too much this time of year. Sometimes I'll throw a big worm on there, but most time it's something like a brush hog or some kind of creature bait or something like that. Chris, I see you comment. He said it'd be neat to catch one on a buzz bait. It's a guy used to be in our club, old club, used to talk about like that all the time. Every time we go out fishing, it's always what he always said. It was old Jack Man, James. I don't know if you remember him or not.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he always said. It'd be neat to catch one on a buzz bait. You crazy, Chris. Hey, that boy don't forget nothing. But no, I tell you, man, I've been going out with Alan here lately in his jet boat. Me and Chris went down and waded the James River a couple, I don't know, it was a week or two ago, I think it was. Not last weekend, weekend before, I think. And it stank, man. I think I caught one fish. And it might have been 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. That's the first time, James, you used to wade it with us. They've gone down there and caught nothing. It was just crazy. But it got in. I don't think they've pulled quite up into rapids yet, to feed good. So
yeah.
But I went out with Alan, and he caught that behemoth. I was talking earlier. We'll have a video coming out with that. Hopefully, there's so much going on right now. I'll have it up this weekend. But just watch that fish hit that whopper plopper. It's insane. Like we was talking with Melinda earlier. Them smallmouth just. They hit that thing like they are mad at it. Like when you pitch a lure over in a fish's bed, that's kind of what it reminds me of. It's just so ferocious when they hit that thing. But yeah, we've been catching some on the whopper plopper and on some weightless worms and stuff like that. And they've been 2 pounds, 1.5 pounds, 2 pound fish, but I think those smallmouth in the river are kind of going through that little bit of funk, because if you kind of look at what we're catching them off of, it's not all the same kind of stuff. You catch some in some slack water, you catch some in some moving water. You kind of having to really run around a lot and fish different things. So all in all, everything is going through that time of transition. And then people that are just kind of getting into bass fishing don't understand transition. That's when they are setting up to feed. They're coming out of their summer home, setting up to feed for the winter. So they'll feed like crazy through the fall, and then they'll move right back out to the deep water again through the winter. So we still got a couple weeks to go before the prime time bite kicks in, at least on Smith. I know some people are, hey man, some people are doing really good right now, but majority of them ain't. So it's just, it goes to show you it's at transition time, and it's tough, and you just got to be patient. So if you're out there fishing, be patient and have about 40 rods on the front deck, because you're going to need them all to find that bite. So James, you got any more tips for anybody for, you know, for transitional fish before we kind of get off of here?
Nothing that I can think of right now. I mean, we've went over so much stuff tonight.
I don't know why.
It's hard to, I think I'm just going to go. What?
I said I don't know why I ask you questions. Listen to me. Don't talk.
I know. I mean, but I know.
We're talking over each other.
But we went over so much content tonight. I think that we're just going to start going over what we've already talked about.
Yeah,
really.
You're right.
So
yeah, it's just think as tip wise. Think transitional fishing as junk fishing time. So that's all I can tell you. Fish top of the water, fish at bottom of the water. You know, I mean, that's all I can tell you on that. It's you just got to find them. And if you listen to Ott DeFoe, Melinda, and Chris, the key thing that all of them talked about was finding the bait fish. And once they found them, they found the fish. So just keep that in mind, guys, when it comes to this time looking for transitional fish. So I don't really have too much more to say for tonight. I really like to thank our sponsors. Like I said, we had Melinda come on. She's with Costa. And, you know, me and James have talked before. They've done so much for us. So, you know, I'll have our sponsors up here in just a little bit. I really like to thank them, but most importantly, thank all our listeners. And, guys, if you're listening on iTunes, please go in and rate our show, whether you like it or not. You know, we like to hear feedback. So if there's some things we need to work on, I hear sound quality a lot. Right now, we are a low budget show. So right now, this is about as good as the sound quality is going to get until we kind of get some better equipment. But it just is what it is. But you know, we like to hear what you guys got to say, and we don't have no contest going on right now. I will be thinking of something here soon to do another contest for, but really want to thank too also, James, we can't forget this, is all our subscribers we've had on YouTube after the contest, and all the people that's liked us on Instagram and Facebook. We've had a lot of people coming in all of a sudden, you know, on Instagram and Facebook and following us. So please, if you haven't, please go subscribe to us on YouTube, and please go follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We got some big things coming for next year. We got a meeting coming up with some of their guys that help us with this show, and we're trying to really plan something big for y'all for next year. Show quality wise, sound wise. So looking forward to that. We're going to keep doing shows through the year, but we might try to do one more next week. Depends on how I got things going on my move, and if not, it won't be long. It might be a lull, about a two-week span of no show, 3-week span, something like that. I hope not 3 weeks, but that's what it might be. Other than that, I'm about out of wind, and I'm tired and ready to go to bed. James, you got anything else to add?
I just want to thank everybody for listening in tonight, and like you said, I just want to thank all our sponsors, because we couldn't do this without y'all. And thank y'all for tuning in.
All right, guys.
I'm ready to go to bed.
Me too, man. I'm worn out and ready for Friday. Guys, please share our show if you don't mind on Facebook and Instagram, and follow us, like I say again, on YouTube. The more people share it, the more we can get it out there. And hey, when more people listen, we get more sponsors. We can give y'all more stuff. So just think it's a win-win situation for everybody. If y'all can help us out by sharing it, that'd be awesome. So, guys, y'all have a great weekend. If y'all catch any big fish, tag us, OneObjectiveBF, hashtag OneObjective. We'd love to see your pictures. So, anyways, guys, talk to y'all later. Y'all have a great weekend, and be safe out there.
All right. Good night.